Day 7.4, day 2, we're going to add and subtract fractions with unlike denominators. If we have unlike denominators, we need a common denominator. So let's look at 1a. The denominators are 7x and 2x. So I need the least common denominator for 7x and 2x. The least common denominator for 7 and 2 would be 14. Since they each have an x, my least common denominator is going to be 14x. Now I need to find out what I need to multiply this denominator by to make it 14x. So since it's 7x, I need to multiply by 2. If I multiply the denominator by 2, I need to multiply the numerator by 2. And let's look at the second fraction. It's 2x. I want it to be 14x, so I need to multiply by 7. Now I have 14x at the bottom. If I do it to the denominator, I need to do it to the numerator. So now let's rewrite our new fraction. Okay, since there is now a common denominator of 14x, I'm going to go ahead and put 14x at the bottom. Okay, in the numerator, I have 2 times 5, which is 10. And I have minus 3 times 7, which is 21. So I'm going to get negative 11 over 14x. And does that simplify? No, because 11 is prime. So that's my final answer. Okay, let's look at the next one. I have, for 1b, I have 1 over 2x squared plus 4 over 3x. The denominators do not match, or I would just add them. So let's consider between 2 and 3, what's the least common denominator? 2 and 3, 6. Between x squared and x, they both have x squared. I take the higher number of x's if they both have x's. So I need both fractions to have a denominator of 6x to the second. So this is 2x to the second. The x to the seconds are good. In order to get 6x to the second, I need to multiply by 3. If you multiply the denominator by 3, multiply the numerator by 3. Okay, for this denominator, I have 3x. I want it to be 6x squared. So to get 6, I need to times 2. But that only gives me 6x. So to get 6x to the second, I need another x. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. Okay, now they have a common denominator of 6x to the second. Okay, in the numerator, 3 times 1 is 3, plus 4 times 2x. 4 times 2x is 8x. Okay, is there a factor in 8x and 3? Nope, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it like that. Okay, let's look at 2a. Now we have a binomial, so that's 5x plus 10 and it's x plus 2. Let's factor the 5x plus 10 so we can look at it a little bit better. Okay, what is that? That's 5 times x, 5 times 2. Okay, this is better because I can see from both fractions, they both have x plus 2's. But this one also has a 5 on it. So the least common denominator is going to be the 5 and the x plus 2. Okay, now this fraction already has 5 and x plus 2 at the bottom. This fraction has the x plus 2 at the bottom, but it doesn't have the 5. So I'm going to multiply by 5. If I multiply the denominator by 5, I multiply the numerator by 5. Okay, now my new fraction has a common denominator. It's 5x plus 2, and it's better to leave it in factored form in case something simplifies later. Okay, so for the first fraction, the numerator was 7, and I didn't change it, so it's still 7. Plus 3 times 5 is 15. So 7 plus 15 is 22 over 5 times x plus 2. Does that simplify? 22 over 5? Nope. I'm going to leave it alone. Okay, to be similar, I have x minus 3 and x squared minus 3x. If you can factor one, you should factor one. So for the x squared minus 3x, they both have an x. So that's x times 3. So now if I look at the denominators, they both have x minus 3, but this one has the extra x outside. So the least common denominator is going to be the x with the x minus 3. That's what I'm trying to make them match. This one already has the x and the x minus 3. This one has the x minus 3, but it does not have the x. So let's times by x. If you do it to the numerator or denominator, you do it to the numerator. Okay, let's see what we have. The common denominator is the x and the x minus 3. So I'm going to make it one fraction. X times 5 is 5x minus 4. Does 5x minus 4 factor? No, so I'm going to leave it alone. Sometimes they do factor though, so you need to check. Okay, let's look at 3a and b. Okay, now if I look at the denominators, one is x plus 3, one is x minus 2. I can't factor them. They have nothing in common at all. So in this case, the least common denominator is going to have to be x plus 3 times x minus 2, because there's nothing they have in common. Okay, so this one has an x plus 3, but it doesn't have an x minus 2. So I'm going to have to multiply it by x minus 2, top, bottom. Okay, for the second fraction, this one has an x minus 2, but it does not have an x plus 3. So let's multiply by x plus 3, bottom, top. Okay, now my common denominator is x minus 2 and x plus 3. The order does not matter. Okay, now I'm going to multiply the top. If I do x minus 2 times 4, I get 4x minus 2 times 4, 8. 4x minus 8. Okay, now I'm going to distribute the next one. So plus 5 times x, 5 times 3. So plus 5x plus 15. Okay, I definitely see like terms, so let's simplify this. So 4x plus 5x is 9x. Negative 8 plus 15 is positive 7. My denominator stays the same, and I want to keep it factored in case something cancels later. 9 and 7 do not have a common factor, so I'm going to leave it like this, nothing cancels. But again, sometimes they do, so you should always check. Okay, 3b is similar if you're working ahead. Okay, x minus 1, x plus 7. Can I factor anything? I cannot factor anything, so there's nothing good here. They have nothing in common, so my common denominator will be x minus 1 times x plus 7. Okay, first fraction has an x minus 1, but it does not have an x plus 7. Bottom, top. Second fraction has an x plus 7, but it does not have an x minus 1. Okay, my fraction has a common denominator of x plus 7 and x minus 1, or vice versa. Okay, I'm going to distribute the numerator. I'm doing x times x and x times 7. So that is x squared plus 7x. Okay, now I'm minusing the 2. So I'm distributing minus 2. So that's minus 2x. And minus 2 times minus 1 is positive 2. Okay, let me simplify the numerator. I have x squared, 7x minus 2x is 5x. Okay, now I'm going to look at the numerator and see if I can factor it. If I multiply to 2, it would be 2 times 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. So it will not factor, so I'm going to leave it like this. Okay, let's keep going. And if you feel like they're getting a little harder as you go, they are getting a little harder as you go. Okay, so let's look at this. Number 4, I have 5 over x squared plus 7x plus 10 minus 3 over x plus 2. I'm going to factor this part to see if there's anything in common. So this is x times x to get 10. 2 times 5, positive, positive makes 7. So now I can see that they do have the x plus 2 in common. This one just needs an x plus 5. So my LCD is going to be the x plus 2 and the x plus 5. Which means this one already has x plus 2 and x plus 5. This one has x plus 2, but it does not have x plus 5. Okay, let's bring it over. So now my denominator is the x plus 2, x plus 5. Okay, the first fraction, the 5, was good. Okay, when you distribute this, make sure this is a minus 3. So this is minus 3x. And then this is minus 3 times 5, which is minus 15. Okay, let's combine like terms. So negative 3x, 5 minus 15 is negative 10 over x plus 2, x plus 5. Is there a common factor with negative 3x and 10? No, so I will leave it the way it is. But if there was, I would factor and cancel. Okay, next one's similar, but getting a little harder. Okay, let's look. One denominator is x plus 3, the other one's x squared plus x minus 6. Let's factor this one to see what they have in common. To get negative 6, probably 2 times 3, huh? Positive 3 minus 2. Okay, so my least common denominator is the x minus 2 and the x plus 3. Okay, so the first fraction needs the x minus 2. The second fraction is good the way it is. Okay, let's bring over what we have. The common denominator is x minus 2, x plus 3. Okay, now I need to do x minus 2 times x plus 4. And this is going to be a little bit of work because I need to distribute the whole thing. Okay, so you can do a box on the side or you can distribute. I'm going to do x times x is x squared. X times 4 is positive 4x. Okay, minus 2 times x is minus 2x. Minus 2 times 4 is negative 8. So I have just done this first part right here. Now plus 3. Okay, let's bring over what we have now. We have x squared, 4x minus 2x plus 2x, minus 8 plus 3 minus 5, over x minus 2 times x plus 3. And yes, we should check to see if it factors on the top. Okay, to multiply to 5, I could do 5 and 1, negative and positive, but that won't give me a 2. It'll give me a 4. So this does not factor, so I'm happy I can leave it the way it is. Okay, let's try 6. Okay, again, I'm going to factor the one on the right. Let's factor this. This is x. X to get 12. 6 and 2. No, 6 minus 2 is 4. How about 4 and 3? Yes. Negative 4 plus 3. Okay, so least common denominator is going to be the x minus 4 and the x plus 3. Okay, so this fraction has both. This fraction is missing the x minus 4. Okay, let's see what we have. My common denominator is x minus 4 times x plus 3. Okay, in the numerator, I have 2 times x, 2 times 4. What is that, 2x minus 8? Okay, now we're going to be very carefully here because we're minusing an x, which is minus x. But then we are also minusing a minus 11. If I minus minus 11, I get plus 11. I know. Okay, let's combine our like terms. Okay, 2x minus x is x. Negative 8 plus 3 plus 11 is positive 3. Okay, my denominator looks like this. Okay, oh, okay, and then if you stare at it and you're thinking like, can't I cancel the x plus 3? You can cancel the x plus 3, which is why we always check to see if anything factors. So I have 1 over x minus 4 as my final answer, which is actually a really nice answer. Okay, now the worst one. Okay, last one. Let's factor the denominators to see what they have in common. So 7, this is x plus 5, x minus 5. I'm good with that. The next one is 3 times x plus 5. Okay, so what do we need? Okay, so this one has a 3. So my least common denominator has a 3. They both have an x plus 5. And the one on the left also has an x minus 5. So this LCD is including everything possible. So let's see what each fraction is missing. This has x plus 5, x minus 5. It does not have the 3. So let's times by 3, top, bottom. Okay, if I look at the second fraction, it has the 3 and the x plus 5. It does not have the x minus 5. So let's times by x minus 5. Top, no, bottom, top. Oh, and be real careful here because this is parentheses. Okay, let's see what we get. Okay, the denominator is big, but I know what it is, and I'm not going to multiply it out because it might cancel later. Okay, on the top, 3 times x is 3x. Okay, now I have to minus this times this. So you can either distribute the minus first and then multiply this by this, or you can multiply these and then minus the result. I'm going to minus the result. So I'm going to put a minus here, but I'm going to put a parenthesis because I need to distribute this times this, 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 this. So I get x squared minus 5x. And then I get minus 1x plus 5. Okay, do I have space? No, I'm going to go to the next line. Okay, so on the next line, my denominator is still the same. Okay, now I'm going to distribute the negative sign. So now I have negative x squared. Oh, should I do those like terms? Minus 5x minus 1x is minus 6x. And so if I distribute the negative to the minus 6x, I'm going to get positive 6x. And then if I distribute the negative to the 5, I get minus 5. Okay, let's bring over what we have now. Okay, and I'm going to put it in standard form because it will be easier. So I have negative x squared. 6x plus 3x is 9x minus 5. Is this going to factor? I don't think so, because 5 times 1 has got to make 6 somehow, and this is nowhere close to 6. Okay, so we can leave our answer like that.